Hi, welcome to Dean Smiles episode 32, and it's been over a month. First and foremost, welcome so much for being here, and thank you for the kind messages from so many of you wondering when the next video was coming. Well, recharge is kind of part of it. It's a busy time of the year, and for some reason, and I'll give details to that, it was harder to give myself permission to be happy with some life events. And this just happens. Our family is no different than any other, but stuff happened. But it also reminds you to see the good things that are out there. The topic is that hidden smiles. Something heavy happens, and you don't see the smiles, you don't feel the smiles, but then you take a step back and it opens up a door to so many things. And just choosing your attitude, like the fish philosophy, giving yourself permission to be happy, and people in your life really appreciate that. We had a family member pass away. Death is a part of every family, for sure. It was my father-in-law, and I grabbed some of these photos and was looking through them and created a little video, and he definitely had an impact on my life and had an impact on so many people's lives. It was so funny when I first met him. He was a smart aleck like me, so we got along well. We gave each other a lot of grief. And there was just that humorous respect, and I learned a lot from him. Now, he made choices in his life that make me feel very uncomfortable, and it's something I try to be more spontaneous than I am. And if it was something that would improve life, or potentially improve life, or improve family life, he was all in. I analyze it a bit more, probably too much sometimes, but some of the choices he made just made me feel so uncomfortable, but he owned it. He was just going to do it that way and try it that way. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And you can see in the video that there are a ton of smiles and family members getting together, and that was the core of what he believed in, was simply that. It was around the family and gathering together and putting smiles on people's faces. He was the happiest when his family was together, and to lose someone like that is hard on everybody. And it's selfishly, it's a loss, but then you see the loss through people you love. You know, Darla, it's her dad, and you see and feel the loss through them. I've gone through this myself. I lost my dad, and it kind of reopens those memories, which I'm going to come back to in a minute. So it's not just the loss, it's the loss of the community and the loss of what he brought to the family. Which brings me to, it was hard going through this to give yourself permission, to give myself permission to be happy again. And that's not what he would want, but that was part of the pause on the video. Well, the hidden smiles came, first of all, very nice funeral ceremony, and it was so awesome to see all the smiles, not that they lost, but the memories when they were celebrating his life, and so many people came together. And this is a gentleman that was in his 80s, and people separate or spread out, families extend across locations. It was well attended, and there was so much love, and there were so many smiles. going to where I was talking about, for me, and this is kind of cool, and it really put a smile on my face and in my heart. The first big death in my life was my grandpa, and I was very close to him, and I've mentioned him in previous episodes, and we would just hang out, and school was always in session with Casper. I was 15 when he passed away. Well, prior to that, if someone in the neighborhood passed away suddenly, Casper and Lucille would open up the newspaper, look to the obituaries, and then, obviously see who passed away, but then they would go to the hospital news and the births. And they were looking for who was born on or near the day of someone passing away. And it was their replacement. It was like, oh, the Joneses had a baby and they're replacing so-and-so. It kind of stuck with me. It was a way to realize that life goes on, and it lightens up a bit because how can you not be excited about birth and a new baby in life? So fast forward to my time at Edina. I always had this in my head, and I kind of did it off and on, whose replacement was born. My grandpa passed away on October 13th, Friday the 13th, in the mid-morning of 1978. I'm working at my job at Southview Middle School, and I always like to wish happy birthdays, and there was a colleague that I didn't have her birthday in my calendar to wish her happy birthday, get a treat, or what have you. Katie Sapina, Katie Thibodeau back then. And I was like, T-Bone, what's your birthday? And she goes, it's this Friday, which that Friday was Friday the 13th. And I was like, you were born on October 13th? And she goes, yep. And she goes, actually, I was born on Friday the 13th. And I said, 1978? And she goes, yeah? Why do you ask? And I told her the story, and it just put a smile on my face because I actually met one of my grandpa's replacements. And the reason I say that, Katie is one of the best, if not the best teacher I worked with. She was so compassionate. She was going to find a way to bring the whole class forward, and she did it so positive. She never complained, and believe me, she has things in her life that you and I would be very justified to complain about, and she never ever complained. And it's like, how fitting is that she was born about the time my grandpa passed away, on the day that he passed away, and I met his replacement. So that warmed my heart, and it put a hidden smile on my face. Then move forward, we've had 2 new additions to the family in December, shortly after Dwayne's passing. But 2 new grandchildren. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. Totally unexpected. Both were early. And it was like, well, yeah. And Darla and I were talking, and it was like, Dwayne had such a big personality. He needs 2 or 3 replacements to equal what he brought to a room. So that obviously put a smile on my face. So we got through the holidays, and it was time to try to regain regular life. As you can see, I'm in Arizona. I love it down here with the sun and everything. And we did a road trip to see Alex and Ashley and their new addition. And then we did our road trip across, and it was nice to have the time to reflect. We talked about Dwayne, Darla's dad, a lot. We talked about the grandbabies a lot. We talked about giving yourself permission to be happy and to see those hidden smiles. And my dad, again, passed away 17 years ago, and he was still putting a smile on my face in the memories, and it all came full circle because of that event. We all have an expiration date. We always think it's going to be someone else's, but we all have an expiration date. And when life happens, the world keeps moving. It doesn't stop. And it's our job to choose our attitude and to be there for the loved ones that we care about, supporting them, as well as in the process of being there for someone, they're there for you also. Oh, wait, and there come the hidden smiles. Thank you so much for making it to this point. I would love to hear your hidden smiles, and thank you for going on these rides. It's good to be back, more coming, and as always, keep smiling.
Smiling days we all can share.